Hey everybody, welcome to the podcast. Before we get into the review of Solo, a Star Wars story, I just want to tell you about our sponsor, which is the movie Sir John A. and the Curse of the Anti-Quench.
Yes.
It's a fun comedy that stars John Dunsworth of Trailer Park Boys, Spenny of Kenny vs. Spenny, and the Diener from Fubar.
And other people like me.
Yep. And if you want to check it out, it's on iTunes, Amazon, or wherever you normally get your movies. Let's get into our review of Solo. I'm hitting the timer now.
All right, so Solo, a Star Wars
story that had two directors that lost those directors.
Well, 3 directors. Oh, yeah, sorry, yeah. So
then it got Ron Howard came in, OP came in and saved the day.
Or so they think. What did you think of the movie?
I left the theater and I liked it.
Okay. What, you didn't love it, but you didn't hate it?
Yeah, I didn't hate it. I was like surprised, pleasant. I like that actor. I forget his name that played Han Solo.
It was hard for me to kind of see him. Like I remember looking at that. I remember seeing a Hail Caesar and like knowing that he was going to do Solo. I'm like, I don't see it.
Torch, it's so simple.
Yeah, Torch, it's so simple. I didn't see it until I finally saw the movie. And you're like, okay, there's little bits and parts where you can kind of see.
He gets his little mannerisms.
But I thought Donald Glover. I saw like Lando first line as soon as I hear him talk as Lando. I was like, my God, that sounds exactly.
He got it,
like
yeah.
Him.
I wish there was more of Lando actually.
Right, Lando was fun.
You know when they at the end when we're gonna jump all through the movie.
Spoilers.
But when it's like, oh, but somebody double crossed you. I thought Lando was going to come in. I was like, oh, fuck, wouldn't that be great? And then it sort of sets up because Lando fucks him over in Empire.
Yeah. But see, I knew that it wasn't really going to be that case because I knew Han had to do something to Lando because of there's a line in Empire where he just like, I don't think he remembers that. Or I don't think remembers what?
Right. Which I don't know. What does he do?
I don't know. He says, I never want to see you again. Never. And then he shows up with that thing. Yeah. Like that makes no sense. I feel like they should have done that line. Here's one thing about the movie. Like I thought the movie was good, but it wasn't great.
Yeah.
And to me, there's a couple things why. One, there's those cringeworthy moments like, oh, you're alone, Solo. And I'm like, ugh,
that felt bad.
Did
you? I fucking hated it when he's in that pit and when he meets Chewie at first, he's like, I was like, oh, really? Is this what we're doing?
It felt a little silly. Yes. And because of the fact that like, you're like, oh, he understands Wookiee, but like,
I hated that. They could have done that so much better.
Well, there's that part. And then there's the part like Chewbacca. We're going to have to find a nickname for you. Like, why do you need to say that? Why can't you just say Chewie in the heat of the moment, which is exactly what's been said? So I'm like, no, that should have been cut out. I don't like it. But here's the biggest gripe I had about this movie.
I'll tell you mine after.
All right. It's the moment where he meets her again. Oh, my God.
That was so bad.
What?
That was so bad,
It's so bad. They're like the whole point of his of his story was like he's going to go back and save Kari?
I don't know, Danny from fucking Game of Thrones.
Yeah, Game of Thrones, Daenerys. The mother of dragons. It's like, yeah, I'm going to go save her. And then like she just happens to be there. Like, oh, hey. It's like, dude, the universe is huge. There is no way in hell. Like, it's just like in Deadpool 2. This just seems like bad writing. Like, you know what I mean? Like, it just felt like Deadpool should just show up and say that line.
Interact with, like, it was like how you like see somebody from high school. You're like, hey,
yeah, like you meet them at like a corner store. You're like, oh, hey, well, that's great catching up. And then you turn the corner and they're there again. You're like, oh, I guess we're gonna be working together.
Yeah,
wow.
That felt like a very forced part of the movie. The love story thing.
I didn't like that part. Now, where it finished, I never saw that one coming, and we're talking about, of course, the ending with Darth Maul.
Yeah.
I remember he shows like we mentioned earlier. Like we were talking earlier, and they mentioned like the big boss guy played by Paul Bettany. You know, oh, there's someone above him. I thought it was
Vader
or Emperor. Vader. No. Why am I blanking? Yeah, Jabba.
I thought it was gonna be Jabba.
Yeah, I thought it was Jabba, and then you finally see the image, and I'm like, the whole time I'm looking at the legs, I'm like, robotic legs. Who's got robotic legs? It's not the Emperor. I mean, maybe it could be, but that's not his voice. Maybe it's Vader. No, Vader would already be in suit. Like, who has the legs? And of course, as soon as they show, Darth Maul, I'm like, of course. The freaking legs, which I mean could be a surprise for people who don't follow into the Star Wars canon of like Clone Wars and stuff like that. But that's all part,
right?
And it makes a lot of sense. But
here's a theory I have, because Daenerys, I forget her real name, but
Kari.
But anyways, she's like kicking ass pretty good at the end.
Yes.
There.
Yeah.
So is she Force sensitive, and is she going to be an apprentice of Darth Maul?
Well, I mean, Darth Maul's technically not a Sith anymore, right? Like,
but he's fucking away from he's good at lightsaber shit, right?
Yeah, no, I mean, there's definitely something coming up for a dead Solo 2.
Right, but Solo can't see any Jedi or Sith, right?
No,
because he's like he.
I know he doesn't believe in that mumbo jumbo, right?
The old Republic and all that. Which
he doesn't. He just does. Yeah, exactly. He's never really seen that stuff before.
I'll tell you what my biggest gripe was with the movie, and this is kind of a small thing.
All right.
So there's like the Ravager kind of group that they have.
Oh
right?
God, that's my second gripe.
And then there's like the second group that's like clear, like these like other baddies and
badasses. Yeah.
And it's clearly a big dude in a suit the whole time.
Next thing you know, it's Brave.
And then all of a sudden, like they take off the helmet and it's a small little girl.
I hated that.
And
part.
I was like, what? Why am I supposed to care that it's a girl with freckles?
Exactly.
What does it matter?
Exactly.
It changed nothing about the plot. And it was like, okay, they're on our side now.
It's like, because of the fact that she's like a young girl, maybe we're supposed to feel more, maybe that's why he does it. But
it doesn't.
I know.
Sense.
I hated that partnership that they have at the end of just like, oh yeah, we're friends now, but we just try to kill each other.
And what is it supposed to say? Like, you're supposed to think that person was ugly underneath. It's like, oh, only ugly people are untrustworthy.
I don't know. It felt weird. Yes, that was my second gripe with the movie. I hated that part. Although great things about the movie was the Chewie Solo relationship. I really enjoyed
more
that.
Han and Chewie, right? That's what I thought. More Han, Chewie, and Lando. I like that trio.
Those was fun. But Beckett or Woody Harrelson's character was much fun. I really had fun with him. I just love that he's like in Star Wars Episode 8, Benicio del Toro's character. He just survives, right? He does what he needs to survive, and I can appreciate that character. He's not really a good or a bad character. He just does what's necessary for him. And I like that, and I loved Paul Bettany's character too.
Yeah, me too.
He's a fun bad guy.
Good baddie, just generic
good
baddie.
Bad guy. They did well in Rogue One as well. I thought Ben Mendelsohn was just a fun bad guy.
You need a good baddie.
Yeah, I thought they did. I thought they did that very well.
Things I like. I love the opening. I love the whole opening on that.
Yes, that was
felt
fun.
Very Blade Runner.
It did feel. I even like the opening straight up,
the
like
penis monster that comes out of the water.
Here's the galaxy far, far away, and you're like, oh, not a crawl, and then they get you with just the continuous of the blue intro. I really like that.
Yeah.
I thought the action scenes were a lot of fun, of like the train heist, and of course the finale. I really, really enjoyed that whole finale, like the third act, except for that big like reveal of the little girl. So I thought was great.
My sister has a theory that Ron Howard threw in the Daenerys storyline of it being a love story.
Really?
Because if you see, like, they probably used some of the was it Phil Lord and Chris Miller's footage,
right?
So I think maybe she wasn't a love story. Maybe she was somebody else to him.
Gotcha.
And that's why it feels so
it could be
weird and awkward. Like,
again, there's not enough.
You know what I think it was? I'm going to take a really big stab in the dark here. I think it might have been like a family member, like a sister.
And maybe they wanted to stray away from the family
and like he was going back to get his sister.
Right.
Which would...
Either way, it still feels weird that she just shows up out of the blue. I hated that part. Let's all be honest there.
And it was weird. Like, it sort of ruins his story arc.
It does.
And then so there's no...
He's just like, oh, I guess I'll go along with you then.
Yeah, it just ruins...
The whole point of him having money was to go back.
Yeah, it just doesn't make any sense.
It was weird. I did like the change up of the first time he plays. I forget the game, but the poker,
right?
The Star Wars poker,
right?
Where you're like, oh, he didn't win. What? He's supposed to win, and then of course it comes back in the end. Like, so it was a nice kind of little, way to bring in Lando to have a kind of an adventure with him.
Yeah.
Here's my other gripe with the movie. I liked the movie, but I felt like it was too much. Like Episode 3. It felt like they had to tie in so much to this movie. It's like he meets Chewie. He gets the Millennium Falcon. He meets Lando. He does this. Like everything has to connect within like a 2-hour movie. And sometimes it felt too much.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like, it felt just like, okay, we get it. Like, okay, this is the first time he did this. This is the first time he did this. Like, it just like, really? In this one adventure, the only first adventure he's really had? Really?
Yeah, I get what you're saying. I think it would have almost been better if he maybe didn't even get the Falcon right at the start.
Yeah, you know what?
In this movie.
I would have loved to know more about the infantry of the Empire. Him, like, that part's so cool. The fact that he was kicked out of it, and now he's part of the infantry. He's no longer part of the royal. Like, I want to know more about that. That is cool to me.
All right, that's our 10 minutes of the Solo review. Maybe we'll do a commentary on this when it comes out. Thanks for listening, folks.
Thank you.
Thanks for listening. Be sure to subscribe, rate, and review the podcast. And be sure to follow us on Twitter at Lost Commentary, on Instagram at Raiders of the Lost Commentary, and like us on Facebook.
I'll be back.